the present crisis that we're either at the beginning of or perhaps in the midst of, what sort of challenge do you think this poses for the investment profession as a whole?
Well, I suppose firstly, welcome to my spare room. This is a pleasure, not one that I expected to be enjoying but a few months ago. So welcome. To answer your question, I think the challenges are going to be widespread. I'm very conscious that in the mission statement, the CFA UK and indeed CFA Institute talked to a decade ago to serve the public interest and to lead the investment profession for the ultimate benefit of society. We thought, and I thought, that was the right thing and the right mission for the society, but I think that's going to be tested in spades over the months and quarters ahead. Central banks have done everything they can to try and alleviate the problems. Governments are doing everything they can to alleviate the problems. And I think how we behave as investors in terms of how we fund companies through equity, how we supply debt to companies, the way we behave in terms of supplying liquidity to the markets in which we are part of, and also how we behave in terms of within the societies from which we draw our staff and from which we draw our customers, I think is going to be under more scrutiny than it has ever been before. As I say, governments are doing their bit, central banks are doing their bit, and I think the way we do our bit and the way we behave for the broader benefit of society, I think is going to be, under more scrutiny than it has ever been before.
So that means a greater emphasis even than we've already seen on stewardship and on sustainability in your mind?
The medium term, even the short term implications of what we're seeing are uncertain, to put it mildly. This is not something any of us have been through. And as I say, I suspect there are far reaching implications of it. What I do think is that what we're seeing is accelerating trends that were already in place. The trends of imbalances in the global economy, the trends of globalization, weakening and becoming less, and the trends around ESG. I suspect those trends have been accelerated by these factors, and those trends you touch on, your stewardship, the proper ownership of the things in which we're invested, the thoughtful ownership of the things we're investment, care for the environment, care for the climate. I think these things will be accelerated by what we're seeing at the moment. But time will tell. As I say, we weren't even talking about this 3 months ago, but as I say, my take on it is a lot of the things we were talking about will be accelerated and not decelerated by it.
How is the move, literally the move to us all working, in our sort of upstairs spare room, how did that actually impact on individual investment professionals' ability to behave professionally and ethically? I
do think that's incumbent on the leaders of investment organizations and businesses. Undoubtedly, a lot of my time is spent trying to keep in touch with the team and keep connected with the team and to try and keep that culture of connectivity amongst the group. But that is not straightforward, and it requires, it doesn't just happen. With particular focus out, but one of my areas of responsibility is for our graduates within the firm and trying to keep our younger people connected to what we're doing whilst they're building up and whilst they're training. I think is a real challenge as well, because as you and I would know well, in terms of when we were training, it was the casual conversations at the desk, the overhearing of telephone conversations, the discussions between senior fund managers. That's what young people learnt from, as well as the formal training and the formal exams that we all went through, and trying to keep that culture of connectivity and to keep that those tiny bits of insight that built up our training over the years is a challenge, but one that we'll have to rise to.
And what sort of questions are clients asking of you at the moment?
They're asking I suppose the obvious question. They're saying, what are we doing in the circumstances? How are we behaving in terms of the way we're managing their money? Are we sticking to our knitting, in the sense of, are we continuing to do our homework? Are we continuing to try and get the best and the most from the companies in which we invest? Are we constructing portfolios in the way that we had told them we would construct portfolios when we took the money on from them? So are we doing what we said we would do? Are we behaving as they would expect us to, and are the portfolios shaped as they would expect them to be in these sort of circumstances? But we are operating, to put it mildly, in an environment of extreme uncertainty. It's probably the most certain environment I've ever operated in my career. And you and I started in this business in the late 1980s. So we've seen a lot over that period. And I think the landscape is as uncertain as I've ever seen it. And as I say, the impact of that screeching of the economic brakes globally, I think, is unprecedented. But our clients are obviously feeling the pain of that at the moment. But they're looking to check that we are doing what we said we would do and continuing to behave as they would expect us to behave.